Hey, it's your old pal Tom here on the Tom Gulley Show. Tonight, let me tell you about Tiffany Sessions, a woman who has been missing for 37 years and whose disappearance is responsible for legislation regarding missing persons in the state of Florida. This, of course, is our cold open. We do it to let our live YouTube chat room fill up, and so the people that listen to our audio podcast don't just get surprised by the 5 or 6 minutes of music I'm going to play in a second. That's kind of like elevator music. It just allows people to enter our chat room. And it's really good music created by our musical director, Leon Kennedy, who we will be having on the show coming up. I'm thinking we're going to talk about Sherlock Holmes. He's an expert on that. And if only Sherlock Holmes had been around to investigate the disappearance of Tiffany Sessions. I've noticed that even in the case of Nancy Guthrie, which is the disappearance that currently is at the forefront of every news broadcast, the mother of Savannah Guthrie, host of the Today Show, disappeared, I believe, 12 days ago. And just yesterday, during a search, they found a pair of black gloves that they're now testing for DNA. And just the day before that, they managed to extract video from her front door camera that actually has that person on it. That took 10, 11 days. How is that possible? I'll tell you how it's possible. Most local police departments aren't super experienced in those things. Once the FBI came on board, things started to happen, but those home camera providers, that ought to be a layup for them. I mean, that's their stock and trade. If you have to wait 10 days, well, why have it? And as you could imagine, in 1989, when Tiffany Sessions disappeared, it was even less sophisticated than it is now. So that's how those things happen. We need to get kind of a checklist. When somebody's reported as missing, you do this, you do this, you do this, and you do this, and you do it quick, fast, and in a hurry right now. Today's show might not be that long. I don't have a tremendous amount of information on this particular story. But one thing I do have, as always, is the knowledge and the fact that somebody knows something. Tonight, let me tell you about Tiffany Sessions.
When the daylight's fading and the world feels wrong, there's a voice on the airwaves, steady and strong, from the heart of the internet's wild frontier. Tom Gulley's talking, pull up a chair. He's got stories, he's got takes, he's got calls rolling in, from the tales of the weird to the shape of the spin. If you're tired of the noise and the nonsense online, there's a seat in the Gullyverse. Come take your time. The show must go on. The show must go on, with the mic burning bright through the dusk to the dawn. Yeah, whatever goes wrong, the Tom Gulley Show lives on. The show must go on. He's the radio outlaw with a charm so sly, a storyteller's cadence and a wink in his eye. From the ghosts in the attic to the news must go on through the static and storms, every dusk, every dawn, from the heart of the net to the edge of beyond. The Tom Gulley Show lives on. Yes, the show must go on. There's a room with a restless air, voices rising everywhere. Most fall wide or miss their mark till one cuts through and stops the spark. No long road, no winding tale, just the right thought set to sail. The room goes still for half a beat, then the band comes in complete.
That's the point, my pal, you saw it land.
Right in time with the swing of the band.
That's the point, my dear, you saw it too.
Tom Gulley, yeah, he's pointing at you.
That's the point, my pal, you saw it land.
Right in time with the swing of the band.
That's the point, my dear, you saw it too.
Tom Gulley, yeah, he's pointing at you. Some press hard just to be heard, dressing noise up into words. But Mr. Gulley lifts a hand and the room falls in with a band. No flourish, nothing grand, just a thought you understand. When the rhythm nods along, you know you've landed something strong.
That's the point, my pal, you saw it land.
Right in time with the swing of the band.
That's the point, my dear, you saw it too.
Tom Gulley, yeah, he's pointing at you.
That's the point, my pal, you saw it land.
Right in time with the swing of the band.
That's the point, my dear, you saw it too.
Tom Gulley, yeah, he's pointing at you. Trumpets rise, the rhythm swells. Saxes know when timing tells. Every note knows when to stand and when to leave it in Tom's hands. Yeah.
That's the point, my pal, you saw it land.
Right in time with the swing of the band.
That's the point, my dear, you saw it too.
Tom Gulley, yeah, he's pointing at you.
That's the point, my pal, you saw it land.
Right in time with the swing of the band.
That's the point, my dear, you saw it too.
Tom Gulley, yeah, he's pointing at you. Sits in the chat like he paid a fee. Shades indoors, who can he see? Acts a name, he points at me like, come on now, I'm Terry Nee. Head full funk, 0 degree. Smooth brain, confidence, guilt-free. You ask again, he shrugs carefree. Buddy, I'm Terry Nee, he's Terry Nee. Who's Terry Nee? He's Terry Nee. Who's Terry Nee? Say it once, say it twice with me. That's the whole damn song. Terry Nee.
Who is Terry Nee? I have no idea. Hey, everybody, what's going on? What's hot? What's hip? What's happening? What is shaking tonight? Let me tell you about Tiffany Sessions, a woman missing for 37 years, and her disappearance was responsible for a change in legislation in the state of Florida, the Jennifer Kessie and Tiffany Sessions Missing Persons Act, that actually legislated how missing persons are treated in the state of Florida. We'll get to that in just a second. Before we do, please like, share, subscribe, retweet, notification bell, even in our audio podcast form. You can sign up or give us a like. Wow, that would help us quite a bit. And we do have the super chats. We do have the memberships, the gifted memberships on YouTube. We also have the PayPal in our YouTube description. We love the PayPal. That's where you give the most. I get the most. Google doesn't get anything. Also, you can go to the TomGulleyShow.com. We've got a bunch of fun stuff there, as well as in the YouTube description. A lot of links, a lot of great stuff, including on the website, our merchandise store. Yes, where you can get top quality name brand items with the show logo on them. Speaking of our YouTube chat room, let's get down to it, shall we? We've got people in there. Wow, that's not cooperating. Okay. Chef is here. He says the crew is in the middle of a rush. We won't disturb you there at Geraldine's Supper Club and Lounge in Indianapolis. Guido Samurai is here. He's saying hi to Chef. People saying hi. We do have the most cheerful chat room on the internet, as verified by independent sources. Terry Nee says, Professor Tom, thank you. CIA is here to gloat, I'm sure, over Arsenal's tie at Brentford. Just, with everything to play for, they never show up. Cornelius Clown Clock. Says Terry the Bird. Cornelius Clown Clock is a great name. Is that Lucas Malago? I can't tell, but I do like the name Cornelius Clown Clock. He says that sexy. Now stop it. The music's sexy. Terry Nee says, I don't look hot. Johnny Book says, hit the like button. Hashtag Gullyhead for life. Thank you so much. People saying hi. And Terry Nee says, gift. Wife is calling. Oh. Terry Nee is henpecked by his wife. Guido Samurai says, by this time next year, the show will have 1,000 viewers a night. Well, that would be nice. Cornelius Clown Clock is saying he sees Johnny Books everywhere he goes. And Cornelius Clown Clock says, my name is Dave. Hello. Well, hello, Dave. It's nice to have you here. Okay. Let me tell you about Tiffany Sessions. Tiffany Sessions was born October 29, 1968. She's a missing woman from Tampa, Florida. Last seen on February 9th, 1989. And now at the time, she was attending the University of Florida in Gainesville, and she was majoring in business. On the afternoon of her disappearance, Tiffany told her roommate that she was going out alone for a power walk. Between 4 and 5 in the afternoon, she left her apartment on Southwest 35th Place. In her apartment, Tiffany left her wallet, her identification, and her keys. She was wearing a white pullover sweatshirt with long sleeves and a gray horizontal striping with the word Aspen printed on the front of the shirt's collar, red sweatpants, and tennis shoes. She was also wearing a two-tone silver and gold Rolex watch, and she was carrying, and these were popular at the time, a black Sony Walkman. After 5 hours, when Tiffany had not returned, her roommate alerted Tiffany's mother that her daughter was missing. And as is so common in these cases, even into the 2000s, the police did not initially handle the disappearance as a crime because a crime scene had not been found, which to me is a little illogical. If there's a missing person, yes, sometimes there will be evidence of a struggle or other evidence that would indicate that someone's been taken, but if they're just plain old missing, you don't know where they went missing, and you don't know what might have happened, and you don't know where it might have happened. So there was no sign that Tiffany left her apartment's garage or any sign of a struggle. People in the area of Tiffany's disappearance have stated that someone fitting her description was speaking to individuals sitting inside a vehicle. Eyewitnesses were uncertain whether the woman entered the vehicle, and authorities have never confirmed that the person they're referring to was in fact Tiffany Sessions. Now, there was an investigation, and there was, let's just say, suspects of a kind. 2 of them are most prominent. Someone named Michael Christopher Knickerbocker was considered a suspect in Tiffany's disappearance while Knickerbocker was in prison, serving 5 consecutive life sentences. He reportedly told his fellow inmates that he had killed Tiffany Sessions. He also said that he chained her to a tree and discarded her body close to Fort Myers in the Calahoosahatchee River. But because Knickerbocker was not living in Gainesville at the time of Sessions' disappearance, the feasibility of his involvement has been highly, highly questioned. And incidentally, the distance from Gainesville to Fort Myers is considerable. It's a good distance. However, as of 2014, police believe that now deceased and convicted serial killer Paul Eugene Rolls was responsible for Tiffany's disappearance and murder. At the time Tiffany disappeared, Rolls was working for a construction-related company near the path where she was last seen. Rolls did not show up for work on the day Tiffany went missing. Rolls had kept an address book with information on people he murdered, which was discovered by investigators in January 2013 following interviews with Rolls, who died a month later. The book listed Linda Fida, a known victim, as the first woman he killed. It may also contain cryptic reference to Elizabeth Foster, another known victim, whose body incidentally was found about 1 mile from where Tiffany disappeared. Notably, the book contained a notation, number 2, 2989, number 2, believed by investigators to refer to Tiffany's date of disappearance and to identify her as Rolls' second victim. The attempt to verify Tiffany's disappearance and the likelihood that she was in fact killed has continued for these 37 years. She's been excluded from 150 unidentified decedents in the United States. So they are still checking, and they are still trying to solve this mystery. Let's get some of your comments that I'm sure are very insightful and completely in good taste. Terry Nee says, Flip Wilson's has a restaurant. Yes, Terry, that'll never get old. Geraldine's. Johnny Book says, you are a man of distinguished taste, I see. Hello. Tim Jenkinson is here from over across the pond, majoring in funny business. CIA said, I'm just here to spread joy. What do you take me for? A Branch Davidian Gunner fan? No, I'd never take you for that. I can't believe we tied at Brentford. Everything to play for. 6-point gap. What? CIA said, that's a good Walkman. Guido Samurai says, that Walkman brought back some memories. Wow. Yes, everybody had a Walkman. I had a Walkman. My girlfriend got it for me. The Guido, I still have that Walkman, by the way. The Guido Samurai, and I can still remember how you could fast forward. You could either snap it down into position or you could just put your thumb on it and just zzz. Oh, it's great. Guido Samurai says the yellow Walkman was the best. The Sport. Yeah, there were rumors that it would go underwater and stuff. It couldn't. Inmates say things to get rides out of prison for the day, says the Guido Samurai. That is true. Tim Jenkinson says the truth is out there, and he is correct. Filet of Fish 910 says, Tom, you're missing the big picture. The big picture of Arsenal losing at Brentford? I don't think there's a big picture of that. I don't think that's such a picture. The Federal Bureau of Investigation have said the search for Tiffany Sessions is the largest in Florida's history. Public efforts to find Tiffany include the Charlie Project and the Tiffany Sessions Facebook project page. The Sessions family are offering a $25,000 reward for any information in the case. They have worked very closely with the Alachua County Sheriff's Department and the Florida Department of Law Enforcement to find Tiffany's remains or convict any suspects involved in this case. In 2013, Detective Kevin Allen said he had made finding Sessions his number one case. Tiffany's mother, Hilary, has written a book about her missing daughter called Where's My Tiffany?, detailing her joy in raising Tiffany and her heartbreak in losing her. And as I mentioned, the Jennifer Kessie and Tiffany Sessions Missing Persons Act is now legislated into law in the state of Florida to help with finding people without all of these gaps and, in my opinion, a little bit of flawed logic. Now, as I always say, it's not necessarily the fault of law enforcement for two reasons. Number one, particularly at this time, the practices that were in place hadn't been refined to the level that they now have attained. And secondly, as I mentioned, not all local law enforcement is particularly skilled in this endeavor. Hopefully, in this day and age, when someone goes missing, warning lights and alarm bells go off. Hopefully. There have been a couple of age progressions done for Tiffany. This is one. And then there's another one that was done in 2013 when she would have been 44 years old. Tiffany now would be 59. So it has been quite some time. Somebody knows something. I always say it, and it's always true. Somebody knows something. And anything that would give peace to this family would be, I'm sure, warmly appreciated. Tim Jenkins, it says, that's what Arsenal do best. I know. Soup Party is here and says, do a backflip. Because Soup Party is a person that should be taken seriously and is not an internet clown. Filet-O-Fish says, not all law enforcement is particularly skilled. Well, like most things, the thing that determines your skill at something is how many times you've done it. And in certain places, in certain departments, they might not have done it a lot. In addition, this was 1989. It's not nearly as sophisticated as it is now. But there's just too many cases of, back in the day, police departments being informed someone's missing and nothing occurs. Nothing occurs. Soup Party also someone, a model of grooming and good hygiene, with many well thought out ideas. Team Brittany says, not a great year for technology. Not a great year for technology. But yes, many of us do remember the Sony Walkman. I'm sitting here and I've been following the Nancy Guthrie abduction, what we can, I think, now assume is an abduction. And it's mind-boggling to me that crime scene was secured, then unsecured. Apparently, a lot of things were not searched. Subsequently, subpoenas for various vehicles, family member vehicles, the house itself. It took many, many days just to get the camera off the roof. It took almost 2 weeks, 10 days, 9 days to get the video footage from the home security camera at the front door. Did the purveyor of that home security system not get it through their thick skull that time was of the essence here? I believe it was just yesterday or late the day before that 2 black gloves were found along the side of the road. I know for a fact in Tucson, Arizona, if Samantha Guthrie or even the local authorities had said, hey, we need your help searching, there'd have been 1,000 people there in an hour. In an hour. But only just a couple of days ago. Filet-O-Fish says he refuses to believe the 80s actually happened. Soup Party says that part isn't exactly true. I thought we were buds. Well, I don't know what necessarily would have given you that opinion. You come in here with your nonsense. It's a relatively serious topic. I don't know. I don't really have an opinion on you. Well, no, I guess I kind of do. You like to censor speech, apparently. Team Brittany says that's the wildest thing I've ever seen, Tom Gulley, the Natalie Guthrie thing. Me too. that local sheriff did interviews with everyone on Earth that mostly were, I don't know. I can't tell you that. I think so. Why was he talking to everyone? The FBI are involved now. I think that's an extremely good sign. There seems to be a lot more progress now. But just an hour south of Tucson, day before yesterday, they stopped a guy in a car with his wife and his kids. They arrested him, detained him. They fluctuate on whether it was an arrest or a detainment. Apparently didn't question him that much and then released him after searching his house and getting all of his cell phones. Now, if that was a genuine attempt based on some sort of information, super. But I don't know. Terry Nee says, Flay, I lived it. It was spectacular. Terry Nee, weren't the 80s pretty awesome? CIA says, undoubtedly the family just have to trust the process and hope the police can find their loved ones. But like most processes, it's just words. You just had to, didn't you, CIA? You just had to. Flay-a-Fish says, no, Terry, you are a bot. Terry Nee says, busted. Team Brittany says, there's always a black glove. Just wild. Tim Jenkinson says, it's amazing how many people just go missing and it's never solved. Oh, if you knew the statistics on how many missing people there are in the United States, it's staggering. It's in the hundreds of thousands. Soup Party's trying to make it about him. It's not going to be about you. Team Brittany says he resisted turning it over to FBI. Big mistake, in my opinion. Who resisted turning it over to FBI? And turning what over? The Guido Samurai says, agree, Britt. And then you've got this guy now who says he knows who the kidnapper is and he'll tell everybody for 1 Bitcoin. That can't be. That cannot be legit. And if it is, that's just absolutely ridiculous. If you knew, why wouldn't you rush to the authorities immediately? You know? Here, I'm going to fix something real quick. I don't usually do this, but I think I'm going to have to. There you go. Don't usually do that, but it had to be done. I don't need lectures from a guy without a comb or any shampoo. Team Brittany says local law enforcement resisted turning over Guthrie's case to the FBI. Did they now? That's ridiculous. Why wouldn't you take all the help you can get? And by the way, if anyone has experience in kidnapping or abduction cases, right at the top of the list is the FBI. That's kind of their thing. And it has been since the show that we did a little earlier on the Lindbergh kidnapping. The FBI are the kidnapping people. That's their bailiwick. It really is. Anyway, I've been every day thinking this is the day that the Nancy Guthrie case will come to a resolution or an arrest or something major. I've seen the videotape, the front door security camera tape. Doesn't seem to be super sophisticated. I mean, was smart enough to mask up and glove up. Also, something interesting about that tape is that part of the tape, he doesn't have the backpack. And another part, he does have the backpack. So did he set it down first, sort of case the scene, and then put it on? I don't know. Guido Samurai says, this is one of the strangest cases ever. Team Brittany says, it really is, Guido Samurai. And the other thing is, how do you pick that particular person to abduct? What thought process went through that? Is many of the people looking in on this, former FBI, have said it has to be somebody local. Because somebody from another part of the country, even if they were to somehow on the internet or by watching the Today Show learn about Nancy Guthrie, they wouldn't necessarily know where she lived. They wouldn't necessarily know her medical issues, etc., etc., etc. So it perhaps is someone local. Is she a person that would walk through town and people would go, that's Savannah Guthrie's mom? And they thought, here's a good way to get a big ransom. Kidnapping is not a great way to make money. The statistics of kidnappers who get the money and are subsequently not apprehended, really, really small. It does in this country. It just doesn't happen. There are other countries where people get kidnapped and it's like a matter of course thing. It's here's the money, here's your loved one back. But not in this country. Team Brittany says they will ID him, I think, by his eyes. Eyes are unique to a person. I think that is true. I think they'll ID him anyway. Guido Samurai says it has to have some weird, sick twist end, like she ran away with the pool boy or something. Well, I don't know. Like most people, or like some people, I, at the very beginning, thought to myself, hey, this is an older person. Older people, even older people with very sharp minds, can sometimes have medical issues that aren't permanent, but will cause them to become disoriented. And I know this from personal experience, my own family. I thought, did she wander off? Did she go somewhere and forget to tell anybody? All those sorts of things were my first blush. Is that what happened here? And turns out no. It is very strange. The Guido Samurai says, Paz Up Patriot. Hey, Tom. Hello, Paz. Terry Nee says 25-year government pension is the best theft. Just kidding. Team Brittany says, true. You're very smart for a bot, Terry. You are. You're very smart. CIA said maybe they faked the kidnapping aspect to cover up their desire to kill her and make people believe she was alive. But why would they want to kill her? She, by all accounts, was just a lovely, or is a lovely 84-year-old woman living a quiet life of retirement. It just doesn't seem to make any sense. I know they have, from time to time, focused on the family. I don't think that's a ridiculous thing to do in terms of an investigation. You always check the people closest to, But who else would have a motive? We can get six. And by the way, there's also the notion of who can be smart enough to carry this off and not be detected, which so far that's the truth, but also not smart enough to realize that kidnapping one of the most visible people on American television and a relatively well-liked figure, Savannah Guthrie. I don't hear people trashing Savannah Guthrie. She's not Stephen A. Smith or Colin Coward or, she's a affable, accomplished journalist who's been the Today Show host since 2012. That's 14 years. Every morning on a very, very popular show. Did you think if you kidnapped this person, abducted them, whatever it might be, that the scrutiny of the entire nation and all the powers of the federal government would not be brought to bear upon you? That's not a good way to be successful. It would have been a lot smarter to find a loved one of a really rich person that nobody knows their name. You know, a guy that owns an industrial rubber and gasket fortune that none of us have ever heard of their name, but they're loaded. Guido Samurai says there is a very similar disappearance in Berkeley, Massachusetts, I think in 2010. Team Brittany says you always look at friends and family first. Yes. Team Brittany says, and not smart enough to get a tighter fitting ski mask or some sunglasses. Yeah, you need some sunglasses. There's also the issue of the mouth light that guy was using. You guys know that? It's a light you put in your mouth, you bite down on it, it lights up. It's a flashlight. And apparently, you can see when he's walking up to the front door at one point, he lights it up to show the first step. He doesn't have it on the whole time, but he lights it up to find his way as he makes that first step, meaning, to me, it's likely, although not positive, that he was aware of that first step, just due to the way he moves up there. Because when you see that security footage, that's a night vision camera. Out there where they're at, it's pitch black. Positive Patriot says you don't get rich by paying ransoms. You really don't. Team Brittany says, I believe the person would also be familiar with just how dark it is out there at night. Lights are discouraged due to the ordinances for the plants, light poisoning. True, Team Brittany, and some people have those dark skies ordinances. Have you guys heard of those? And they have them in far-flung areas and even in some cities. One of the things that prevents people from seeing stars in the sky at night is the light from street lamps, stores, front porches. And so some areas have dark skies ordinances that don't allow for a lot of ambient lighting. Terry Nee says Perry Caravello has a fanny pack. He does. Team Brittany says he seemed to have all the time in the world, like he was just standing around at first. And yes, those ordinances, Team Brittany, are for stargazing. He did seem to be in no hurry. And why would he be? If you've looked at the layout of her house and that neighborhood, her house is largely surrounded by cacti and rock and everything. I mean, she's not right next door to anybody. And in that pitch black darkness, you're going to be aware of any approaching vehicles. So yes, it was taking his time. Terry Nee says Cherry Springs State Park, located in Potter County, Pennsylvania, is renowned as one of the best dark sky spots in the eastern United States. Well, Terry, when I moved to Wayne County, Utah, which is, look it up, it's remote. Not only is it remote, but it's like at 7,000 feet elevation, or 8 or something like that. And it is 2,400 people in a 2,500 square mile area. When I first moved there, I was in a spot, it's not even a town, it's called a census designated place of 100 people. And I went outside one evening and I was shocked at the number of stars in the sky. I literally could not believe it. I was looking up going, It's been since I was a child that I saw this many stars in the sky. And those of us who live in a big city, it's a optics thing. You just don't see it or get to see it or understand it. Terry Nee says, by the way, Bucks County school students walked out to protest. I hope they all get expelled. Which one? Bucks County East or Bucks County West? I have no use for anybody in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. None. Team Brittany says he could walk for a while with night vision goggles if someone dropped him off. It's still baffling as to how he got there. It is, and at first you hear about this, and you think, well, somebody will have a Ring camera or a Nest camera that'll pick up a car coming by, a la Kohlberger. But then you see the neighborhood, and you go, I don't think so. I don't think so. Terry Nee says, I was in Sun Valley. It's overwhelmingly. Yes. I think the likelihood of a Ring camera or any camera of that nature, I mean, they could even turn their lights off while they were going by somewhere or whatever. But yeah, with night vision goggles, they could do just about anything they wanted. And that was the other thing I was thinking at first. Did they park on the other side of the block, abduct her, and then take her to, Terry Nee says he knew what he was dealing with, and Team Brittany agrees. It is baffling, and it's my biggest hope now that the FBI is involved that they get to the bottom of it. I don't understand their request for Bitcoin. I don't understand any of that. The FBI will have people that are skilled enough in cybersecurity. Even the messages they sent through the various newspapers and media organizations, that's traceable. You might not think it is, but it's traceable. Everybody, I got a VPN. They can't trace me. Yeah, they can. They just subpoena the VPN company. Well, what if the VPN company is a foreign company? Then they tell the VPN company they're going to shut them down from any activity in the United States, which they can do. Team Brittany says, request for Bitcoin in a text. Ultimate idiot. I think this last request that wants one Bitcoin, it's like, you fool. Isn't there already a reward out of monetary nature? I'm pretty sure there is. If there's not, there should be. I think the federal government might establish one, but even if they didn't, I'm sure Savannah Guthrie's family or somebody related, just so they don't make the abductors mad, give them the information and get that reward. Nice, clean, legal, above board. And forget your silly Bitcoin nonsense. Thanks, Bitcoin. Thanks, cryptocurrency. CIA says, yes, Kash Patel seems to have everything under control at the FBI. Team Brittany says, yes, there is a $50,000 reward. Bitcoin isn't that much more than, what is Bitcoin now? I know it was getting upwards to 100,000. But I think it's dropped since then. I don't know what Bitcoin is today. Let's find out, shall we? By the way, Lucas Henchman Malago, thank you for sharing and retweeting on Twitter, which the guy does every day, and I really appreciate it. Let's see. How much is Bitcoin today? He wanted 1 Bitcoin, Guido Samurai says. They know it went down in value, right? Oh, didn't it, though? I remember all these... You see what you got to do with Bitcoin? Yeah, it's not real money. Much is that Bitcoin in the window? Right now. Bam. Today, Bitcoin is $66,339.90. It was 67 yesterday. A week ago, it was 60. A month ago, it was 94. Who would want Bitcoin? Just give me the 50K. You know? Just ridiculous. Just ridiculous. CIA says, yeah, I think it's dropped below. Yeah, it's 60. So anyway, it does kind of make one go, maybe I should get one of those security cameras. Incidentally, you don't have to get Ring or something like that. They have what are called trail cams that are motion activated, and they're night vision, and they store onto a chip, or they can Wi-Fi into a computer, and you can just do it that way if you want to. Browning makes a really good one. It's a couple $100, you know. But anyway, I hope for a resolution to that. Let me check real quickly just to make sure there hasn't been any big updates today. Let's see here. FBI reveals description of suspect and the backpack he was wearing, the actual brand and model of backpack. By the way, 28 minutes ago from Yahoo, FBI increases reward to $100,000. So it is 100,000 now. 100,000. So there you go. An hour ago, the sheriff, this is New York Times, sheriff asked neighbors to share security videos. You think maybe day one, that wouldn't have been something you should have... NPR has an article on how the FBI might have gotten inaccessible camera footage from that front door. The Guthrie kidnap suspect is a male, 5'9" to 5'10", with an Ozark Trail hiker backpack. There you go. This is going to mess up my stream here real fast, but updates. In the video, he's wearing a black 25-liter. These newspaper organizations that have converted to an online publication, I wonder if they know how many people just are never going to subscribe to them because 7,000 pop-ups come up. In the video, he's wearing a black 25-liter Ozark Trail hiker backpack. Yeah. And the FBI has confirmed that that person is indeed a suspect. I'm sorry. Sorry about my frame rate going down to 0. That's what happens when you open up, USA Today or Yahoo or any of the others. It just, your whole computer slows down because they're loading so much crud and crud. Let me see. Guido Samurai says he wanted 1 Bitcoin. There I remain, frozen. Absolutely frozen. Thanks, USA Today. USA Today, you stopped being relevant when you stopped being slid under my hotel room door when staying at the Hampton Inn or other comparable inns. Team Brittany says they are now asking for neighbors' security footage all the way back to January 1st, 2026. That's pretty smart, really, in case somebody was casing the joint. Positive Pastry asks, do you think the cops were in on it? No. Terry Nee says, check her payments to service and delivery people. Well, the gentleman that they detained was a delivery driver. And some people have posited that the reason he was picked up was because he may have actually delivered her something. But he's a delivery guy. He's not going to memorize every place he's ever delivered to. He just looks at it, goes to the place, drops it off, on to the next thing. That gentleman said, I don't watch television, and I don't know who Nancy Guthrie is, and I don't know who Savannah Guthrie is. Guido Samurai says they need to look at all the footage for a couple of years. Fun. One of the FBI guys spotted a gap, a tiniest of gaps between the glove and the end of that sort of zip-up jacket the dude was wearing, and said, that looks like a tattoo to me. And I'm like, that guy knows what he's doing. Team Brittany says, I don't personally posit a patriot, but I believe something is off in this case, something big. I agree. Guido Samurai says, Ozark Trail is Walmart stuff. Agree with Brittany. We should take bets. I agree, Team Brittany. Something is fishy. I don't understand the delay in so many of these things. And some of what has happened, and I am a huge supporter of law enforcement. One of my favorite people in the world is a sheriff. And I've ridden along with law enforcement into the thousands of hours. But so many of the things that happen, especially early on, you secure the crime scene and then you unsecure it. And members of the media are walking up to the front door taking video of blood trail. What? The interviews that are just all over the place. It just doesn't seem right. Now, it does seem to me, and Team Brittany, maybe I can get your opinion on this in the chat room. It does seem to me like the messaging that the family has put out there, the videos the family is putting out there, that those are scripted to some degree. That messaging sounds intentional to me. I'm just saying. It sounds as if that has been generated by someone with expertise in kidnapping and abduction to appeal to the mindset, in some regard, of the people that took Nancy Guthrie. Calling her mommy, humanizing her as much as conceivably possible, as well as other things in the messaging. Team Brittany says, I believe that. I think it would be irresponsible not to, frankly. I mean, you don't really have a line of communication with these people. They haven't really made that many requests. I forget when their last request was. I guess there was some activity of some kind in that Bitcoin account. Look over here, not over there. Exactly. But they've had no proof of life. And they've had what's the hallmark of kidnappers. Here's how this is going to go. Give us the money, and then we'll do this. But without proof of life, nobody's going to give you the money. You're just not going to get any money till then. Don't make no sense. Just don't make no sense. Terry Nee says lots of time they want to loom inept so the perpetual seems safe. Well, maybe. But it's been 12 days now. We're getting close to 2 weeks. If they're really sophisticated, they had her medication. In other words, they already had medication that she needs and a way to connect that pacemaker. That's if they had deep, deep background information. I don't think that's the case, but maybe. Who knows? If you really wanted to put pressure on the family and keep your abductee safe and healthy, you'd have that background information and you'd disconnect the pacemaker. You would leave the medication, but you'd have backup. So you're actually taking care of her, but they don't think that. I'm just saying. I don't know how they would get that deep level of information, but who knows? This could have been planned for a long time. Guido Samurai says they are probably doing the negotiating behind closed doors, though. So the perp feels safe, says Terry Nee. I got you. Team Brittany says, to be fair, FBI could be negotiating with them right now and just not have made it public. That's true. It's just there's so many things that have been made public. But maybe that's not the FBI. Maybe that's the sheriff's department. We just don't know. There's a lot of things we don't know. The main thing we don't know is she hasn't been returned. Everything else is inconsequential. Team Brittany says, great minds. Yes. Yeah. Let me tell you about how to abduct people. No, we're not doing that show ever. Anyway, it just seems most of these cases like this, they get solved in 48 hours because of the lack of sophistication of the people trying to pull this off. Now, one thing I will point out, where is a place where they have lots of kidnappings? Mexico. Where is Tucson very close to? Mexico. Maybe it's somebody who came from across the border or has experience down in Mexico. Kidnapping there, pretty common. Team Brittany says, I promise you it's not the sheriff's department. No, I meant the leaks might have been the sheriff's department. Terry Nee says, the fact he put his face into camera seems dumb. Guido says, how is this not solved? Well, he put his face in the camera and then he tried to cover it up with some fauna. It's like, just put a baggie over it or something. Plenty of meds in Mexico. Yeah, you can get over the counter. Anyway, on Saturday, we will be covering legendary actress Agnes Moorehead. You know her as Endora from Bewitched. I know her as arguably the greatest old-time radio performer, male or female, of all time, and a 4-time Academy Award nominee. She was in Citizen Kane, and she had many, many strong opinions about many, many different things. On Sunday, oh, this is going to be a fun show. We will cover Bonanza, the TV show, the Cartwrights, Ben, Hoss, Little Joe, the whole 9 yards. And let's not forget Hop Singh. Did the cooking. Also next week, I don't know what day. I haven't scheduled next week yet, but guess what? Guess who we're going to have on as a special guest again? Our good friend, Leon Kennedy. And I think we might talk about Sherlock Holmes. And if we do, I think we'll talk about how Sherlock Holmes would have approached trying to figure out who abducted Nancy Guthrie. Guido Samurai says, seriously, is she coming on the show? Well, Agnes Moorehead, I'll just give you a little peek behind the curtain. Agnes Moorehead is no longer with us. Agnes Moorehead worked on a movie out in the desert near where they tested some nuclear weapons in the 50s. And the movie was called The Conqueror. And it had John Wayne and Susan Hayward, and the director was Dick Powell. And all of them, like Agnes Moorehead, died of cancer. And many people have pointed to the closeness of that movie set to where some testing went on. Because like half the crew got cancer or something like that. So Agnes is no longer with us. Yes. Team Brittany is laughing at Guido Samurai. Isn't she dead? Yes, she's dead. Team Brittany says, is Leon under the Kennedy curse? No. I believe that name is a pseudonym. Thought so. Team Brittany says, that sounds safe. I don't think they knew about it. There have been books written about it, about how there was a cloud or some other stuff. We'll get into it when I do the show. But Agnes Moorehead lived a pretty long life, longer than some of them did. And Agnes Moorehead was an amazing, amazing talent. Let me see how old she was when she headed for the exits. How many Agneses are there? There's not that many Agneses. Oh, she was 74 years old. I mean, certainly we'd all like to live longer than 74. But Vito Samurai says, right, that's messed up. Yeah, it's a big Hollywood story. And the worst thing, The Conqueror is a terrible movie. It's rotten. It's awful. Don't see it. Very bad. Very, very bad. It's John Wayne is like Genghis Khan or something, and he has to No. Anyway, Team Brittany says, hey, come over here and touch this nuclear waste stuff while we stay in our sealed tent. I don't think it was even that. I think it was just they're out doing a movie in the middle of a place, and they had no idea that other stuff was going on. We'll cover it on Saturday. I've decided the weekend shows are for me. They're going to be stuff I like and don't really care about views or super chats or memberships. Once again, we have not met our goal of any amount of money. It's okay, though. You know why it's okay? Because I'm going to make hamburgers. That's why. Anyway, that old clock on the wall says it's just about time for me to amscray. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. So with all that being said, no show tomorrow, but Saturday, Agnes Moorehead. Sunday, Bonanza. With all that being said, till next time, hold on, we've got to find, there we go. Till next time, we'll see you next time.
There's a room with a restless air, voices rising everywhere. Most fall wide or miss their mark till one cuts through and stops the spark. No long road, no winding tale, just the right thought set to sail. The room goes still for half a beat, then the band comes in complete.
That's the point. you saw it land.
Right in time with the swing of the band.
That's the point, my dear, you saw it too.
Tom Gulley, yeah, he's pointing at you.
That's the point, my pal, you saw it land.
Right in time with the swing of the band.
That's the point, my dear, you saw it too.
Tom Gulley, yeah, he's pointing at you. Some press hard just to be heard, dressing noise up into words. But Mr. Gulley lifts a hand and the room falls in with a band. No flourish, nothing grand, just a thought you understand. When the rhythm nods along, you know you've landed something strong.
That's the point, my pal, you saw it land.
Right in time with the swing of the band.
That's the point, my dear, you saw it too.
Tom Gulley, yeah, he's pointing at you.
That's the point, my pal, you saw it land.
Right in time with the swing of the band.